What episode is this?
Episode 5.
Episode 5, yeah.
The big 5.
Episode 5.
All right, guys. Episode 5.
Episode 5. It's pretty good. I feel like that's a small milestone to hit. 5 episodes in. Some people just give up after the first or second or third.
Or fourth. Or fifth. What if we're some people that give up after 5?
I have to do episode 6 now.
That would be embarrassing.
That would be so embarrassing. I would just die.
And I'm proud that we overcame you being remote. We took a week off while you were on vacay. And then today we're probably going to have a little short podcast because I'm not feeling 100%. Got a lozenge in my mouth for the listeners at home. You're probably going to listen to it.
ASMR, yeah, just swish it in your mouth for everyone to hear.
They're going to hear it rattle in my mouth quite a bit. How was your vacation, Lewis?
Vacation was great. It was much needed. Much needed.
What was your favorite part about a cruise?
Probably just the relaxing. The fact that I didn't have to do anything. The food, of course. I'm a huge foodie. I hate that word, by the way, foodie. It's like, what do you call someone that's, it's like, you're just hungry.
Yeah,
you know?
you like food. Welcome to being human. You know? Or all the animals.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I ate a lot of good food.
Were the buffets open?
Buffets were open, yeah. Except they had to hand them out. So it was a good timing for me because the whole COVID, when we were going on, we were expecting to wear masks the entire time, just when we're not sitting down, similar to how it is in Canada right now. But they completely removed it if you're vaccinated, and everyone was vaccinated on the cruise. So you went on, everyone was vaccinated. So it was literally completely mask free.
What if you weren't vaccinated though?
You wouldn't be able to get on the cruise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, was there like one guy just wearing a mask the whole time that everyone was like, and like wore like a shirt and like,
yeah, not vaccinated. Yeah. Everyone's like avoiding him like the plague.
Like he's like the stinky kid in class. Just like,
yeah, with a dunce cap on.
jeez.
But it was great. The food was great. And it was just honestly nice to relax for a little bit. It's been crazy here at the office. Storm and Lee can say that. For my personal life, it's been crazy. We were renovating our basement, as well as had to get a bunch of YouTube and TikTok videos out. It was nuts, but it was a lot of fun.
Nice. And you were posting on all your social media platforms while you were away too,
Yeah.
right? Nice. Good for you, Lewis. You're pretty close to, what's the big milestone you're coming up to right now? You're almost at
40,000 on YouTube, and then 100,000 on TikTok.
Holy
25,000 on Instagram.
Wow,
yeah,
dude.
So
you're pretty much an influencer now. I would say like the 100,000 is like, it's not even cringe if you call yourself one.
I know. Well,
it's like actually like your job, you know?
Here's the funny thing. When I was on the cruise ship, I was just walking around the boat, I had my AirPods in, and you know, the influencers in the wild type of thing where you see people trying to take influencer level posts in public.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that on the cruise ship. There was some girl, she had her bikini on and she had a phone like stood up and it was playing music and she was
doing a TikTok?
Doing like a TikTok and Instagram story of her posing in front of the camera, kind of how you think a Instagram bikini girl would do it.
Yeah.
And I passed by and I was just thinking, oh my goodness, influencers in the wild. Then I just realized, wait, I'm technically an influencer in the wild right now too. And
you're probably like, how many followers does this loser have? Like 20,000?
And I was just thinking, what a weird realization I had on the cruise.
That's awesome, man. You know, it was interesting you mentioned the whole thing about being a foodie. I feel like some people that describe themselves as like foodies that love to travel are like the most boring people in the world, you know?
Yeah.
Like you like to eat and you like to also explore.
You like to travel?
That's
you like to eat? Yeah. What happens if you don't do those things?
You know what? The third thing, the trifecta of rice cracker, plain Jane, is they like to work out too. So it's like fitness, travel, food. It's like,
why is that low key me though?
No, it's not.
I'm like a bit of a rice cracker that way, you know?
No, because what are you talking about? You have more interest in those three things, Lewis.
No, I know.
Those would never be categorized as your primary.
They're huge interests of mine though.
If they're everybody, that's my point.
Yeah,
if you're defined by those three things, it's like everyone likes to eat food, everyone likes to travel, and working moving your body is like normal animal behavior.
Yeah.
So I get it, but that's like, I don't know. Maybe I wanted to throw some shade at somebody I hate.
You want to start off spicy.
Yeah.
You know.
Quit being a millennial. You can't just be on vacation all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Get back to work.
Get back to work. Move forward.
Speaking of getting
Fast
back
forward.
Oh shit. Welcome to the Fast Forward Podcast. I'm your co-host Lee.
I'm your co-host Lewis, and welcome to the fastest growing Canadian tech podcast in the universe.
This week, we're going to talk about Time's top inventions of 2021 and the new Apple event.
You a fan of Apple?
Of course. For this week's Rewind segment, we're going to look back at the roots of reality TV and how that influences our current culture of sharing.
I'm finally back from a long-needed vacation.
And that's a great segue. So tell me about what was the most fast-forward thing on the cruise?
So yeah, it was really interesting. So cruising in itself is almost a little bit backwards. It's kind of old in itself, but this was a massive ship. So it was Royal Caribbean Oasis of the Seas, if anyone's interested and wants to look it up for themselves, but it's on multiple ships. It's called the Bionic Bar. So
sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah.
If I had to guess without knowing what it was, like I would have pictured like a robot, like a humanoid robot, like shaking a drink and like pouring them and like pointing fingers at people.
Well, you're honestly pretty close. What it is, it's a bionic bar, exactly as that. It's a robot that makes drinks for you. So the way it looks, it's not like a humanoid where it's like a robot and it's wearing a bow tie. It's like two cranes, I guess you could say, two robot arms that make drinks, but they are completely separate. So it's just one arm that does it. But on the ceiling, all the bottles are upside down, and then it grabs your cup, and then it pushes the amount of drinks that you want into there with force. But how it works is that there's a bunch of tables around and it has an iPad on the table, and you use that interface to use a pre-made drink, use the UI to add ice, mint, leaves, whatever cocktail you're looking for. And it then sends that request to the queue, and you can see the robot make your drink in real time. It's really cool. And then along with that, it has like a screen, like a heads-up display next to these arms showing you like what's your wait in line in the queue, what you ordered, etc. So everyone else can see, and it's really, really cool. So,
everyone else can see your drink order?
Yeah.
What if they gave you like a super girly drink?
Well, like, I mean, anyone can notice that in a real life bar too, right?
Yeah. What if you just had like a super annoying order? Because I know when you showed me the video, you can like make it exactly the way you want to. So it's just like, Lewis, and then it has like a 20-step drink, and everyone's just waiting for your drink to be finished. And it's recalibrating the arms constantly to make your drink. You know I think what's kind of funny to me was just seeing that the only useful part of a bartender is their arms. Because like that's what the robot is, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you see automation happen, you always see like the actual thing that's important. And it's like every robot everywhere that I see, like in factories and shit, it's always just like arms. So it's like kind of, something that we take for granted sometimes, maybe how useful our arms are.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm just thinking too how much better I like this system more than an actual bartender. Now, there is some novelty to a bartender. If you've ever seen the show Mad Men, bars are just so interesting. It's just the aesthetic of going up to a bar in your suit. That's cool. But realistically, if you go to a club, you go to any bar, the classic, you just walk up to the bar, you're sitting there, you're waiting for the bartender to get their attention. Sometimes they miss you, so you're at the other end. It's kind of a horrible experience with the loud music. So having it on an iPad and then being able to make it exactly how you want, the chances of it messing up is very slim. It's just a much better experience.
Yeah, an unpopular opinion, I think, but I would say they're better in like every single way. Because in a busy bar, you're not going to have an intimate relationship with the person and have a conversation. You're going to be able to like put payment processing in part of your order. So I've seen it before where people like leave the bar and don't pay. Yep. Or they get mischarged, so they get charged for the wrong item. Well, now like you're probably paying when you make your order, and it's all happening through like Apple Pay or whatever. And then your order is exactly as specified, and you don't need to be like a hot girl at the bar to get attention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You input it. If you were first in line, you get it. The robot's going to be faster. It's going to be more efficient. It's not going to make mistakes. It's not going to waste your time. And overall, I feel like it's just a better now again, I'm probably going to unpopular opinion, not to offend any bartenders, but I think that's probably where this is going. And this is probably why UBI has become such a big conversation, because like I wouldn't have thought bartenders when I think of like the first jobs that would get automated. I think truck drivers, I think cashiers, accountants, lawyers, but it's like, a bartender is like such a versatile thing. And like on a cruise, like, do you think that was more of a gimmick, or was that like a cost savings thing, or was it both?
It's definitely a gimmick for sure. And which I was actually just going to ask you, the audacity of them. There's a tip option.
No, there wasn't.
Who am I tipping?
You're kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
I wouldn't include that in my reasons for why it was better in every way, but I thought if I said it out loud, I would have sounded like an asshole.
Who am I tipping? Because I think I get tips. Who
Yeah.
am I tipping
Yeah.
when I tip a robot bartender?
Probably the guy that's like under the cabinet that's actually doing everything.
It's like a puppet, like a Sesame Street puppet going up like that.
Like those arms are just him, like through the box. Yeah.
What? Who? The
maintenance guy.
Or maybe that robot goes home after the day's ending, has to cook his dinner, that extra tips. Goes to meals, goes to his kid's birthday.
It's his RRSP or 401k.
Yeah, maybe goes to his 401k.
He doesn't want to be on the cruise forever. He wants to retire to a nice junkyard where he won't get pissed on by dogs and shit.
Yeah, that's where it is. It's like you can go to robot heaven or you go to this crappy junkyard. That's where most robots go because they haven't saved enough money for their retirement.
I feel like this podcast can now either continue or we could start like scripting a sci-fi like dystopian story about a robot.
Yeah, start a new change the podcast around to be a dystopian sci-fi thriller.
Or we just do it live improv.
Yeah.
Maybe not today.
So are these coming to bars, do you guys think? This bionic bar?
Me and my dad were talking about how cool it would be. You brought up that our demographic in our city definitely is not ready for that because it does come up with the automation. People are scared of it.
Yeah, I don't like it. The idea of their like friends and family losing jobs to like a robot.
I like the concept of it. I think it was nice because as well as that when it's done, it places it far away. Like it's not in arm's reach. So you have to use your card for it to come to you on a conveyor belt. I like that idea. I like that concept. It's fast and I don't feel like I have to wait. Think about when you are at a bar. I think eventually what's going to happen is that they're going to be implemented almost everywhere. And then it's just going to be a much better experience. I don't want to have to wait 10 minutes for a drink while my girlfriend and her friends are having a lot of fun. I want to join them in the fun.
Yeah. And you don't want to get breast implants.
Well,
well,
not for that reason.
I think it might be seen as like corporate greed, like capitalism. But at the same time, like back in the day, people used to get charioted around on horseback, like on the horse carriages. And then, back in the offices, they used to like do all the phone routing manually. You'd have like these girls routing your phone lines.
Yeah.
Right. And now those things are gone. So there's always going to be more and more automation solving problems, and then it'll be new problems being created. So sorry, just probably not ready for it. But to answer your question, Storm, I think definitely bars will do this because minimum wage is going up, and the cost of all these different, the supply chain, right? That's a buzzword right now.
Supply
and
chain.
they're going to try to keep prices low. And I think introducing even as a support player, like have a bartender, but then have like the bartender go and like manage the robot, and the robot's making drinks, Well,
the robot wasn't able to manage inventory. Like there was somebody who had to replace the bottles.
Wow, can you imagine you being a robot's bitch?
Yeah.
Can you imagine like what's your job?
Well,
I'm a bartender, so I'm a bartender's assistant. Who's the bartender that you work with? Well, it's actually a robot.
To be fair though,
I just refill them.
Like if you just are you really the robot's bitch if you just decide not to refill it? Like what's that robot gonna do? It's gonna suffer.
Yeah, but you serve the robot.
Yeah.
The robot's not like going and fetching shit for you.
Yeah.
You're going and fetching bottles of booze for the robot.
So if the bottles are on the ceiling, does the guy who is replacing it have to do like a 50 cent and hang upside down while he's changing these, or how is he changing these bottles?
Seriously, it's a good question. He must be like suspended like a trapeze, and then he's like swinging it, swapping the bottles.
Yeah. No, I think there's a little ceiling at the top that they drop it down like that. Yeah, but that's funny.
I think the biggest thing for this whole idea is that when people are at the bar and they don't know what drinks they want or they want to try something new, this iPad gave all the drink options, right? So it lets people be a little more comfortable with not knowing what to get to go to a bar. It eases that tension as well.
Yeah, it makes the whole experience easier.
Also, too, like
browsing pictures.
Well, think about how annoying a bartender is when he's having to deal with like 50 people. That's after you. And then you're sitting there like, what's in a strawberry daiquiri? What's in and it's.
And the thing is, these days with everyone's different like dietary requirements, you have to ask the ingredients. And personally, actually, I have a question for both you guys. Have you ever remembered when you asked them to tell you what's on tap? Have you ever been able to after she's done telling you what's on tap? Have you ever been able to recall that?
No.
Like they'll be like, what's on tap? And they'll say like 10 different brands really fast.
I just remember the one that I ordered.
I just remember the last one and the first one most of the time. And then I just have to ask, wait, did you say, Belgian Moon or whatever? And then they have it. But like, it's not efficient. So then they're waiting, can I get your order? You're like, I don't know what to get. I don't know how to deal with humans. I just go on social media all day. And, they just get all, wound up. This is nice. You just leave an iPad on the table. When the order comes through, they make it. They ding you when it's ready.
It's an incredible invention.
Yeah, and speaking of incredible inventions, Lewis, did you see that Time released a 2021 top list of inventions?
I did, as of yesterday, actually.
We both did.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend that we did.
I think it was, really cool list, by the way. It was, so Storm, you had a little game for us to play.
Yeah. Do you want me to kick it off?
Sure.
Yeah, love to.
So I gave the Time top inventions of 2021 list to Lee and Lewis separately, and they're going to list 3 inventions from this list. The first round is going to be the most influential, the most important that they think of the batch. The second one is the most fun, or the one that they enjoy most and just want to talk about. And the last one is going to be what one is not going to be relevant when we get to the end of 2022. So going into 2023.
If I can actually just slightly adjust the order, if we can do most influential last, I think it'll transition well into our fast forward segment today.
Yeah, we'd love that.
Sure.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
why don't we do our favorites?
Irrelevant.
Let's do our favorites first.
Okay.
Then we'll clown on somebody's pride and joy, and then we'll do the influential. So I actually picked like 3 that I thought were like my favorite ones.
Sure. Do you want me to go first?
I don't have a preference.
All right, I'll go first. Okay. So my favorite one is because it kind of mixes a lot of what I really like. I'm diabetic. So to me, I really care about accessibility, making sure everyone has the same experiences and can stay up with the latest trends. I also am a big fan of sneakers as well. I like looking at sneaker culture. I like seeing what they are. So this one was definitely my favorite. It's the hands-free sneaker by Nike. So what it is, it's kind of, I don't even know how to explain it really, but the way it almost like snaps where the heel and the rest of your foot goes. So what you do is you just, without having to use your hands at all, you can get your foot in there and it'll adjust to your foot accordingly. So it's not like the Back to the Future one where you just double
Self-lacing.
Yeah, and it self-laces. I don't think there's any laces on it at all, actually. But what it does is it kind of snaps, you put your foot in, and then you step on it, and then it kind of adjusts to you. There's a pretty cool video about it on YouTube. Jimmy Fallon did it. But what I love about this as well is that it's made for accessibility. It's made for people to put on sneakers better. But I'm just looking at it now and I'm just thinking that would be so good for every day. Like I love wearing slippers or flip-flops to just quickly go out of the house. But at the same time, flip-flops and and slippers don't look as nice as shoes do. So imagine just being able to have a fresh pair of sneakers, Yeezys, whatever it might be, just being able to be clipped on like that.
Is this a casual sneaker or is this like one you can run in and stuff? Because it looks like an athletic shoe, but
I think it is. I'm not entirely sure. I think it is more casual than it is athletic.
it's pretty sweet. I'm seeing it now. Basically, the front compartment, it's almost like actually a flip flop sliding into a component that can kind of caress your ankle.
It's pretty cool.
It's cool. I had no idea that there was like an accessibility angle. So when you started talking about accessibility, I thought you were to pick something else. Yeah. But that's really cool. Was there anything else that was like stand out to you or no?
I just chose one.
Okay. So I'll be the asshole that chose three. And I'll just kind of whim through them because like, they're honestly pretty quick. So the first one, which I think was like really cool, was this bone conduction communication tool. Did you see that one?
No.
So it was by, I believe it's Mobilis Labs, the Mobi One, which is kind of funny. Mobi One.
Yeah. Love that.
Anyway, the Mobi One, it's funny even saying that. What it does is it's like a microphone and headphone that uses bone conduction to communicate. So basically, like if you look at it, if you look at the article and you pull up the picture, they actually demonstrate it on a hard hat because people that work in construction need to be able to hear. Like they usually have like radios or whatever, but the issue is they have to wear ear protection. So they'll put those plugs in. If you have those like earplugs in, you can't really put in headphones or a microphone either, right? The microphone might be kind of awkward. With this tool, They can literally have this thing that's on the back of their skull attached to their helmet, and they can talk on radio. Yeah, it's nuts. And they can hear people on the radio, and they can wear ear protection at the same time.
Oh, nice.
So it's like it doesn't even touch the ear. Like it's just behind the ear. It's entirely, it's like, but like it's like you're talking to them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they even have on their website, they have this like audio playback that you can press and listen to. Yeah, I actually have a link. I can actually share it with you guys.
Oh, there we go. Thanks, Storm.
Yeah, so the crazy thing about it is that they have the audio sample on the website. You can hear the difference between like if you were like in that environment with all the sound, this like the loud noise pollution, and then with it in, and it's like game changing. It's like it's super cool. I think these will probably really, really do well because people are more and more concerned about noise pollution and like hearing damage. And I was just thinking, like, when me and Jason were doing woodworking at the office, getting our tables and everything done, we would wear ear protection, obviously. And remember how awkward it was to put headphones inside your ears?
Yeah.
And then remember how hard it was to talk to each other? Like you and I tried to use walkie-talkie
on an Apple Watch.
And it fucking sucked.
It was horrible.
It was not that walkie-talkie sucks, but like it wasn't meant for that. Not that we would buy these tools because we spend like 1 hour a year doing, manly things.
For sure.
But for
that industry, that's huge.
Huge.
Think about how many injuries happen because of the lack of communication.
Well, you might, if you have headphones on to protect against noise, and then you're done using your chainsaw or whatever it is, you might not hear a truck coming down the street around the corner because you have that. You're kind of closed off. It's kind of like bikers that wear over ear headphones, right? Yeah. They can't hear like the noise cancellation.
Another good application.
Yep. So I think it's really cool. So that was one of my favorites. The other one was this. It's called this. I think it's the Synchron. I can't even pronounce it. Synchron's. Let me click the link here, and I'll try to read here. The Streptude. Anyway, it's like Neuralink, but actually like works already. So let me pull up the Synchron. It's kind of funny. Synchron. And the product's crazy. So it's like Neuralink, but here's the messed up part. I definitely. There it is. Strent. It's the Synchron Strent Road. Stent Road. Anyway, if you want to pull the link, I can actually show you guys the link too. So this thing, right? They actually use this instrument to go into your brain's blood vessels. So just think of like these big tubes in your brain that deliver blood to your brain. They use this instrument to go in there. Kind of like when you see those videos of like people putting tubes into your intestines and stuff with a little camera on it. So something like that, but way smaller. Goes through your brain's blood vessels and leaves behind an electrode. And that electrode is measuring blood as it's delivered to different parts of your brain. And using that as a way to understand when you're using your the motor part of your brain. So if you're somebody that's like paralyzed, you can't use your hands anymore, this electrode is like monitoring the blood moving around your brain and can understand what you're trying to do and can wirelessly connect to your computer. So now you can control your computer with your mind. And I watched this guy that's paralyzed control his like on the website. There's a video. I was like tripping. Yeah.
Wow, that's nuts.
There's two old guys. These two old guys. I think the guy was from Australia. He's like a senior. His wife is literally like spoon feeding him and like giving him drinks from a straw. Like he's like completely unable to use his arms. And Mans is like writing emails and sending them and like doing all of that with his brain and his eyes.
Kind of like a Stephen Hawking type of vibe. Sort of.
Yeah. And I was like really impressed with it because I know, and I think if you go on their website, it says Synchron becomes the first BCI company to receive the FDA's approval to conduct an IDE clinical trial of a permanently implanted device. So I don't know what BCI company means or what an IDE clinical trial means, but I assume in this category, they're the first to get FDA clearance to do a trial with an implanted device, which is really cool to me. Because I used to always, hear about Neuralink, and I know they're doing some stuff with pigs, right?
Yeah.
Neuralink, and like getting monkeys to play Pong. But like, this is like a human, like using his computer browser.
Yeah.
So this is like, to me, like levels ahead, I guess. I'll have to double check on Neuralink to see what they're doing, but I thought that was really cool as well.
Yeah, that is really cool. Wow.
Was he using this to bartend?
to control them. That's actually who you're giving the tips to.
Oh, well, now I feel better about doing that.
Yeah.
Oh,
the last one, and this one's just ridiculous. That's why I picked it. So the company is called Evie, or LV, sorry. Jeez. LV. And not like LV, like my initials, like LV, like Elvis.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think this is interesting because I've had 3 kids now, and my partner Kayla has breastfed all 3 of them. And I got her this like pretty fancy pump. It's like the highest end Mandela pump you can get, and Mandela's like the high end brand. And I did it because I wanted to maximize my children's obviously breast milk. So Kayla always has to like pump, and it's such a pain in the butt to pump. She has to sit down, and she has to like be on the couch, and she has to like plug these on to her.
Is it a big machine?
It's like it's not bigger than a laptop.
Okay.
It's not heavier than a laptop.
It's not like
either.
portable to say.
Well, she can't get up when she's like, when she's started, she's like 30 minutes, she's like stuck. And the thing is, like for moms that have more than, 1 kid, it's hard to sit down for 30 minutes. Like it's a lot to ask. So it ends up being like not used that often because it's not that, effective of a tool. So this company, LV, they have like a mobile breastfeeding. It's like it just seems like a joke at first.
It does look like a joke.
Literally like you could just be out at the office. You could be, running. You could be at a concert, and there's like a breast pump on you, pumping milk, mobile.
That's cool. That's really cool.
It's really cool because
I'm looking at some pictures right now.
I mean, you got more women in the workforce now. You've got, the women on the go. Anyway, I thought it was really cool, so that's why I picked it as one of my favorites. Because even though the marketing was odd to me, the idea that like women can just be like living in the world
and then
also
do that as well. That's really impressive.
Out of those 3, which one would you say is the coolest?
Coolest? Let's see. Probably the accessibility, the Synchron, yeah.
The Synchron Stentrode, whatever that is.
So cool. Next one, we're doing irrelevant.
Yeah.
Before you guys get in, actually, Lewis challenged me today to do my own list too. So I'll just do
nice.
mine quickly. But the one that I liked from that, because I'm into NFTs, was Infinite Objects. They make just frames where you can load in your JPEGs and MOV files.
Oh, I saw that.
Can I right click and save them?
You can't from the frame but you can go with your camera and take a picture of it. And so that's just a cool way to display them in the real world and flex on your friends in real life.
Does it protect it, or does it like make your artwork vulnerable? Like somebody could rob a museum of NFT art frames and then they actually get the NFT.
I don't think it probably disconnects it from your wallet address, I'm guessing. So it's not like that high tech.
So it's more just to display it.
I know Dapper Labs did one with Top Shot where certain collectors that got a set got sent all of the plays in it. And then, so I don't think it actually had it had videos, but it wasn't like someone could steal yours with the frame somehow.
I see.
And then the other one that I was excited about at first was the Savor Pack. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it looks like the little pack that comes in jerky. But you can actually put it in your other food, put it in the fridge and stuff like that. I thought that was a cool idea because I'm really into food and travel and no, but I thought it was a cool idea because I saw it with French fries and I'm like, oh, I would love to have French fries the next day. But I went to their page and they were like, oh, it only extends, it takes the moisture out of the bag, but it's like it extends it for like an hour. It doesn't extend it for very long.
What was that
called?
Savor
Pack, SAVR, Pack, PAK.
I got it. Yep.
Yeah, and I just
non-soggy takeout.
So the real one that I thought was hilarious and maybe my favorite, having Italian heritage maybe, was the Cascatelli. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I'll link it to you as well. But I just thought it was hilarious how they're like re-engineering pasta. So here, I'll send you the link.
Re-engineering pasta, dude.
Yeah, so they have, I'll read to the listeners. So it's like...
Don't tell the Italians this.
Yeah, I don't know if it makes Italians traditionalists not into this or what, but it's like... it'll be like longer cut than most short shapes, provides more fork insertion points, improves forkability. I liked that they said forkability on their page. They said the half tube and ruffles create a sauce trough for max sauceability. So these seems to be doing pretty well. It's like they have like 3 weeks until you can order this pasta, but I just thought it was pretty funny. Make Da Vinci proud about this.
This is insane. This is like, so my favorite pasta is penne because I feel like I can get good forkability. It can like the circle part, like the tube is like a great sauce carrier. And I find that it's just like, overall like great chew, whatever. This is like taking that logic of like different pastas having potentially different strengths and just over engineering the shit out of it.
It literally looks like an AI generated a pasta.
It's unreal. It looks delicious. Like when you look at the finished dish, what was the term they used to describe how well it carried the sauce?
Sauceability.
Sauceability.
They also use the word maximize tooth syncability. So
Tooth syncability.
It's very scientific on the website. We'll link it in the video or something.
How satisfying it is to sink your teeth. So here's what I'm wondering. How do you measure like how satisfying it is to sink your teeth into? Like, is that just like a feel thing? Like everyone tries the first prototype and they're like, what do you guys think? It's like a 9 on tooth syncability?
No way. That's a marketing gimmick whatsoever.
It's like,
clearly scientifically accurate.
Yeah.
That was
my favorite. Made me laugh the most, and I thought I would be interested in trying it. It looks like a hefty pasta. That would be fun.
Yeah.
So we should order quantity limit of 4 packs per order. We should actually order some of this, I think.
Yeah.
And make some pasta.
Yeah.
Next company town hall will be sauceability. How do you say it?
So that's the brand, but Cascatelli.
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 All right, moving on to irrelevant. Let's flip by him here.
You go first here, Lewis.
Okay, so I have 2, and this is tough.
Wow.
So the first one I think is TeamFlow. So we've used TeamFlow before.
Yep.
And now I do think that remote work is here to stay. I don't think that we're just going back to normal. There's no such thing as a back to normal. But I do think that TeamFlow is a little unintuitive with the way it, like, I don't want to have my camera open. I think that's kind of frowned upon on a lot of employees. They don't want to be on camera all day. And I don't feel like that virtual, or the way that they did the virtual kind of office, I don't think they did it too well necessarily, because your camera's always on. So you'll always have your microphone on. Therefore, your headset is always on the microphone mode, so you can't hear your music as well. I don't really care about being around people at all times. I don't feel like being in the virtual area makes it that good. So that's why I think it's going to be irrelevant. I think there's going to be better ways to do this. Definitely cool that they ventured into this, but I don't think that's going to be relevant within next year.
Yeah, I think what Mark Zuckerberg kind of like conceptualized in his whole metaverse vision around remote work seems like a lot cooler to me. I don't know how far away that is to being real, but like I think being able to do remote work, each individual doing it the way they want makes the most sense. I know we tried TeamFlow, we didn't like it that much, so I can see that.
The second one, and I don't think this is necessarily too similar, but flip phones. So flip phones, I think flip phones are really cool. We're holding our phones all day, and I have an iPhone Pro, so it's pretty large, but I think flip phones are a bit gimmicky. I do think it's cool that they can flip and you can make it more portable. I just don't know if the technology still needs to go there where it's a little bit better. I think it's a bit gimmicky at the moment.
I don't even think it's more portable because, like, and this is just my own thinking. I don't know if they did like a pants fitability test. Probably Cascatelli people probably would have done that. But like when you fold a phone, the volume is not changing. You're just doubling the thickness and then halving the length. So,
but that's the important part, though. Like that
is it
does
though?
Make it more.
Well, what happens if you're wearing tight pants? You got a big bulky block on your.
It's not that much. Like
it's double.
Like it's double, but they're already thin, as can be.
What I'm saying is, I feel like sometimes I've never seen anyone struggle to get a phone in their pocket, but I have seen sometimes they can be a bit tight, like the pant. If you're wearing tight pants, I feel like the flip box would look kind of weird.
What about females who don't have pant pockets?
They're just
where they put the phone
women's
regardless.
pants pockets will never exist. You know, like if you've ever seen a woman's pocket before, like
there's no room in there.
No, and again, that's because the purse industries lobby to get them removed. So
dude, that's not. Did you just make that up, or is that a real thing?
It's like that's a theory. Theory.
Common. So the purse industry lobbies the female pant makers to make pants without pockets.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm hearing this, guys.
Oh, it's like, I mean, like
I'm getting goosebumps.
Look at Kayla's pockets.
I know.
It's laughable.
I
can't fit a quarter in there.
Dude, nothing. I think it's like literally the size of like maybe a chapstick.
Yeah.
You can get in there.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, that's why I chose flip phones. Love to hear your point.
I think flip phones are lame. I can agree with you. I think if you want a flip phone, get a real flip phone. Don't get a flip smartphone. Because I think there's like so many, at least right now, there's so many like disadvantages to having the flipping. like mechanic in your screen, like maybe the hinge gets worn out or the screen gets kind of disrupted. I've heard those things with Samsung. I don't know if they fixed all those problems,
because I know some of them too. Like when you flip the phone, they have some sort of like screen at the front of it, which might be like your notification bar, etc. But again, I don't see a crazy use for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be getting one. Okay, so yeah, my most irrelevant one is the company Ample. Did you guys see the Ample one? So Ample, it's like the EV battery swapping one.
Okay.
So I mean, actually, I'm curious. Why do you guys think I would have said that's the most irrelevant one?
It's an EV
battery swapping company. So basically, you go in there and you park your car, and then they'll swap your battery rather than having to charge it. And in order to do that, they have to first retrofit your battery with a custom battery that can like plug in like a modular system.
Oh, are you going to say because they're like Tesla or the EV companies are going to find a way to DRM it?
I think that, but like so many, like, so here, I actually wrote this down because there's like so many issues I have with this company. And they just got like $50 million from BlackRock or something. So I'm just like confused. Like, where do smart people put their money and why? Like this is to me is ridiculous. And maybe, you know, if somebody knows why, please let us know because I'm confused. So one of the issues with doing a modular battery means you can't actually integrate the battery into the car's like powertrain, like its overall system. And a lot of these cars use like air or water cooling systems to cool the battery. So now you have like a heating issue with the battery, and you can't really necessarily fix that with a modular battery. And then you eliminate the ability to do fast charging because fast charging by nature warms the battery up quite significantly. Now you can't do that because you don't have the cooling component. So by getting this like instant swap feature, I lose my fast charging feature. But then also fast charging is getting better. So you're basically building this technology to solve a problem that's already like being fixed rapidly. And then how the hell are you going to scale, right? Because right now they're able to do it because there's like 10 really popular EVs max. What happens when every car is an EV? How are you going to manage all the different customers and all the different cars and all the different variants and you'll have to have a custom battery for each of those cars that like retrofits into them. And the manufacturers have to be like okay with it, I guess. I mean, I think you're allowed to do what you want with your car, but they have to make it like, they have to cooperate to some level. And to me, that's kind of scary because it's like, if you're someone that wants to like build a franchise, like you want to get like an Ample car EV swapping location in your town, it's like a legit system. Like it's a huge thing. The car drives into it and like it's like a robotic setup and it swaps it. Like that's a big capital expenditure. And then also it's like to run this thing, you're going to have everyone's batteries. So you're going to have like 50 different car batteries, always charged and ready for your customers when they get there. And you're going to swap their battery. And to me, it's not even a problem now most of the time. Like most people just drive all day, charge at night. And if they go on a road trip, they just like stop, get coffee, they charge their car, and then fast charging is getting better. So to build this like whole ecosystem across the United States of these like battery swapping devices seems like a bad idea. Also, Elon Musk tried it in 2009. He said he was going to do it, and then he walked away from it. They just said they're not going to pursue it anymore. And to me, that's like a pretty good sign that it's probably not a good idea.
Well, that's interesting. What about you, Storm?
Yeah, mine's cheating a little bit because I know it's going to be irrelevant because they already closed their doors. So someone that was featured on the list is already like, they shut down business. So it's actually the selfie camera. I don't know if you guys saw that. It looks like the Men in Black pen.
I did see it.
And it gives you a 360 thing. And I'm like image. And I think selfie sticks need to come back, but like not in the corny way, but in a way that people still ask a bunch of people to take their pictures. So there's got to be a cooler way I know selfies and stuff, but I think it's a good idea maybe outside of this, but yeah, they closed their doors. So that's why I'm cheating with that being irrelevant moving forward.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Storm. There's got to be a better solution than asking strangers. Maybe like the iPhone 20 will like have a drone built onto it, and then it'll just like fly up and take your photo for you.
Is that spoilers about the Apple event that we're going to talk about? Is that coming? Did they drop the drone part?
Maybe Tim Cook's got like a couple of hints. Probably not, but I guess that's it for irrelevant. Yeah. Are we going to jump into
influential? Yeah, let's do it. So
I'll go first just to get mine out because we already talked about it and it was the Nike shoe as well.
Okay.
I think it's the most influential just in the fact that it's going to impact so many people because I want to wear them. Everybody wants a simpler shoe. Like they're tired of tying their laces, like laziness a little bit there. But the fact that it's so much accessibility for older people watching them put on their shoes with shoe horns and stuff like that and then trying to tie them and then with people with disabilities as well. I just think it's game changing that way. And the way I would describe it is like when you're skiing and you snap your feet into like a ski.
Yeah,
that's like the same like pop motion like that, which is a very satisfying pop. Jimmy Fallon,
that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon made them look really fun, and he was the one that kind of brought it up originally, or they already had it in tests. But that, for all those reasons, I think that's why it's my most influential on the list.
I could see that. I could see everybody wearing them pretty soon. They look like super easy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's I guess the design, right?
My one is the Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2 platform. Okay. So the reason I chose this is that right now it's not too impressive, I guess you could say, because it's still early, but it's a very powerful chip for devices, which is going to, again, open up the floodgates when it comes to AR, which I do believe is going to be a huge part of our future. And I'm very excited about it. That's why I chose influential, and it'll power everything alongside with 5G. And yeah, it's really cool. So that's why I chose that as my most influential.
It's an important piece of tech, because if they don't build it for everybody but Apple, then there won't be another ecosystem for AR, right? Like, I don't see all those smaller companies building platforms. And it looks like most of the platforms are going to be like integrated with your phone. So Qualcomm powers like pretty much all the Android phones.
Yep.
So I think that chip has like, the ability to connect like 5 to 7 cameras on it, and has 5G and has like the ability to do mixed reality and VR, AR. So I agree. I think that's definitely super influential, and it'll probably be here to stay. I don't know how good it'll be compared to my boy Cooks, but I'm sure it'll be all right. It'll get the job done.
That another pun? Get the job done.
Oh, I didn't catch that one. You're too good. So my most influential one was the NVIDIA Omniverse.
Oh.
I did look into this earlier when I was like trying to investigate Mark Zuckerberg's whole meta play, what was going on there. And, I just got caught up on it, and I'm still just blown away by it. NVIDIA is pretty much, and the way they describe it is like the wormholes that get you through and around the metaverse. So basically what HTML is to websites, Jensen Huang from NVIDIA describes the NVIDIA Omniverse is that to the AR VR world. So pretty much they use a framework called USD, Universal Scene Description. So basically it's a way that everyone, no matter what tool you're using, whether it's like Adobe or AutoCAD or whatever these different tools are, to like universally bring them together to build worlds. So it's like everyone can contribute to building these worlds. And not only that, but it also does like the machine learning and the things that power the worlds as well, and then allow you to like move through them. So they're trying to create kind of like the framework, kind of like HTML is for the web. They're trying to create that framework for AR, VR, the metaverse. And they showed so many cool implementations of it. One of them including like a digital twin environment. So this is and when you brought up the whole team flow thing with like the AR VR component of that, I thought about this because pretty much what digital twin environments allow you to do is, like, for example, let's say you're a really good robot mechanic and you're like specialized in a certain kind of robot and you live in Japan, and then there's a factory in Texas that needs fixing. You could actually recreate that device in VR, and then you can fix it in VR, and it has then a robot will fix it in Texas in like the twin environment. So we could create a digital twin of this office, and then all of us at home could like interact in the virtual space. Yeah. Wow. So it's like pretty mind blowing shit. How do you guys think? So I guess we'll make this kind of like our mini fast forward segment. How do you guys think things like the Omniverse technology from NVIDIA could impact our day-to-day lives? Like, what do you think that looks like in the short term?
Well, short term, I'm not entirely sure, but I was just thinking, how a lot of digital jobs we can send to offshore, like India, et cetera, where the labor is cheaper. Well, it's the same thing that we can do with the global market, right? Because the only thing it's the physical location as well as the language barrier, but both of those can be solved easily.
Yeah, like what if you had a office in India that you could go work to? It's like a co-working thing, and then every desk cluster has like cameras around it that digital twin it. And then basically you go to this company's like co-working space, and then it just like creates a digital version in the metaverse so that you can work at any office. So then we can just go and have a meeting with our remote worker from Bangladesh, and we're sitting across the table from him, talking to him like we are here, and we can work with him, but he's like in this cluster in some other country.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really excited for the future of AR, the metaverse.
I'm curious who's gonna win. Is it gonna be omniverse or metaverse? Like, is it gonna be Zuckerberg?
I think both of those terms are like interchangeable almost.
I mean, Zuck. Like, do you think Nvidia or Meta is gonna win?
Or Apple.
Or Apple? Yeah, Apple hasn't really said anything about it. It's like,
or the metaverse.
Or the metaverse. I think metaverse is not gonna. They don't have the culture, you know.
Yeah.
So the Omniverse has 500 companies or more that have already started using it. 70,000 downloads by designing professionals. Like, there's already huge movement there. I don't know. I feel like I think they're like the underdog. I think Meta's taken a lot of attention, but I think Omniverse is like really going to be the one that wins the race.
Well, Facebook, Meta, right? But I'll say Facebook. Facebook has always used existing technologies to build. So like they've always been a software company. They've never been hardware. They've ventured into hardware with Oculus and such. But I think they'll just be a continuous dominator in the software industry. So they might use this.
They build communities.
Yeah.
Facebook's communities, and communities is a huge part of the metaverse. And then NVIDIA is like software, hardware, and that's a huge part of it too. So we'll just see who ends up having the most leverage.
Speaking of hardware, what was yesterday?
Well, yesterday was like my favorite day of the year. One of them. Every year, the Apple events are like, they get me giddy. And honestly, Apple, I wasn't expecting it, but I was kind of hoping they might allude to something in the AR VR side of things because they just keep like just edging us, man. Yeah. Like it's ridiculous. But they had some pretty crazy announcements. So they started pretty simple with, I believe it was like the iPhone new colorway, like the green. And then they talked about the iPhone SE, which is like a super affordable iPhone. I think it's priced at like $430 USD, and it has the A15 chip in it, which is like the fastest chip they have for phones. It's the same one that's in the 13 Pro, I believe. And they put it in like that old iPhone chassis, the one with the button on it. So I think this is the play they have to get into like the more developing markets like India.
Yeah.
Give them a quality iOS experience. iOS is the most powerful mobile like operating system, and give them the best chip for like photography and for videography and for everything. Just total mobile.
Photography still goes to Google, I'm pretty sure though.
No, as far as the computing power, I'm saying that the chip does all those things really well. It's the best chip, the E15, when it comes to mobile computing power. So it gives people that power at an affordable rate. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then they announced the Apple Air that has the M1 chip in it. So
That's the iPad Air, sorry?
Yeah, sorry, the iPad Air. So it has the same chip, the iPad that we just got for Josh, that has the M1 in it. It's a Pro, which is expensive. It's like almost $2,000. The Apple iPad
Air.
Air.
Happening to us,
dude. It happens to anyone that buys Apple products these days.
Yeah, we're buying Apple product. Like we did the same thing. We bought Intel MacBooks, and then literally not even like 3 months later, they announced the M1 Mac.
Yeah, it sucked. And it's like anything that you buy Apple now, they're just like beating their own products. They're getting so ahead of it. Anyway, this is like priced at like $700 USD. So like less than 1,000 Canadian. And it has the same chip that the iPad Pro has. And it has the iPad, the Pencil 2 compatibility. And it's the same cool chassis. I think it doesn't have LiDAR. I think it doesn't have the cool camera.
Okay.
But
still,
that is a ridiculously powerful iPad for that price point. So I'm just wondering what you guys think. Like, do you guys think like Apple has just like won the tablet race, and at this point they're just like dancing on the graves of the competition?
I think they've been winning
It's over.
Like, think about it. Whenever you go buy a tablet, it's like the iPad Pro, whatever, and they're very expensive. They're so powerful. Like the next tablet you get is like a $200 one, like a Samsung Android $200.
Old people call them iPads.
Yeah.
They think that any tablet is an iPad. And then those ones break all the time.
Microsoft, when they had the Surfaces, they sponsored NFL, but all the announcers kept calling them iPads. So they had to get into a legal dispute with them.
They kept misrepresenting the product with their number one competitor.
Yeah, literally.
Can you imagine? Like, there's like a Coca-Cola ad and they just keep calling the Pepsi.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. It was. But that was not... The funny thing is that wasn't the most exciting thing about the Apple event.
No, that was them just kind of...
the most exciting thing?
That was them flexing. And then they did something even crazier. They announced the Apple M1 Ultra, which is a super duper... I'm getting goosebumps even talking about this. This chip is so goddamn fast. So here's the thing. I thought they were going to do like something a little bit faster than the M1 Max, or just use the M1 Max maybe and put it in the iMac or put it in the Mac Mini. and call it a day. No, they had the M1, they have the M1 Pro, the M1 Max, and now the M1 Ultra, which is 2 Maxes stitched together. They're claiming it's literally faster than any chip in the world in a personal computer. And the GPU has like more VRAM than anything that exists. And the chip itself is faster than Intel's newest best chip. And not by it's better and at like 1/3 of the energy consumption. At the same level of power. Like, it's that good.
What do you even do with that much power?
I don't know. Like, even to me, it's like they are so ahead of the curve now with the silicon. Like, they're just so much better than all the competition. And the thing is it just works. Like, you can get yourself a PC and you can like put in like 4 video cards or something to try to compete with this one, because this is also apparently better than like the new top end NVIDIA graphics card too. It's like a little chip. It's a little chip in a laptop, right? A little chip in a Mac Studio, their new product. And I don't know what they're trying to do here. They're just trying to like shit on everybody. I think it's like my best assumption, because it's like they're actually making their own products. Like, back in the day, Apple used to be notorious for incrementally changing stuff so that you keep buying it, and you know what I mean? They kind of do it slow. Now they're just like, yeah, we made a ton of innovation, so everything we made last year sucks, and we made all new, way better stuff. And it's like, it's kind of shitty being an Apple customer because your stuff got dated. But the new Mac Studio is sweet. It's like a Mac Mini that just got duplicated with a chip with the Max M1 Max that got duplicated. And here's the fucked up part. Ready? The fucked up part is at the end of the conference or the video, the live stream.
It's going to cost like $6,000 probably, right?
Well, the price is good. The price is actually very, very good when compared to the other Apple offerings, and for the amount of power, just ridiculously. And just the fact that it's going to work is unreal. But they actually said there's still one more computer they want to bring into the silicone lineup. So Apple promised over 2 years they're going to get all of their lineup onto the M1, and they have just the Mac Pro left. And the thing is, it's rumored that the Mac Pro is going to have 4 M1 Maxes in it. So it's going to be like an M1 Ultra times 2.
What are they going to call that?
I don't know. Like Ultra Supreme? Like, yeah, I don't know. I read the comments.
I don't want to ever, like, I'm just like waiting for that day where like all the stats start popping up like 6 times faster.
It's like, what for? The Mac Studio that just came out is way overkill for 99.9% of people. So the fact that they're bringing this Mac Pro in is probably going to be for like Hollywood studios and shit. But I think it's just like, it's their roadster. It's their like, we have the best, fastest thing.
Literally like it's like when your teenager passes their driving exam, you buy them a freaking Lambo.
Yes, you don't do that. Don't do that. You don't. This is the thing, is the M1, dude. This is what pisses me off. We have the highest end when we bought it. The M1, which is now their like scraps chip.
Yeah.
They're putting it in the fucking iPad Air. Is faster than our chip, man. Right? Like, disrespect. So I don't know. Like, I'm happy about it because I find that, you know, with our laptops and stuff, we have some constraints with video editing, and I know that that's around the corner. That once we update all of our computers, we'll be able to be okay. But then it's like, we know that in a year they're all going to look stupid, and they're all going to be, Apple's going to crush them again. So I would say Apple's got the throne. They've got the crown.
I'm excited for their next Apple event.
Me too. I hope we get AR VR before the end of the year.
Well, Apple is constantly moving forward, but right now, Lee, we'll have to go for a rewind.
What do you got for us, Lewis?
So today, when this podcast airs, in 1989, Cops made its TV debut. Remember Cops?
Oh yeah, I remember Cops.
Cops is huge. I mean, obviously, it just ended actually a couple of years ago, but it came about because there was a gigantic writer's strike happening at Fox. Well, actually in general, but Fox, they needed to create a TV show that didn't require any writers. Like, what's a show that could write itself, basically?
Wait, that's actually why it started?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So the result is one of the biggest shows to ever exist, Cops. It was a pioneer in reality television. Of course, I don't have to tell you guys about reality TV show. It's, you love it or hate it. Actually, everyone loves it, but we hate that we love it.
Yeah.
Reality television is one of the most popular forms of television because of how easy it is to create while also being really engaging. The success of Cops showed how engaged people can be to content that is unscripted and amateur style. I put that in finger quotes, which is a big contributor as to why we are so engaged with things like Snapchat stories, TikTok, and YouTube videos. Think about how amateur a Snapchat story is, but how come I'm still watching Instagram and Snapchat stories all the time, or looking into people's lives? It's just with a camera, and our cameras are better than the cameras back then on our phone, but even then it's still so amateur style. So I have a question. How will we engage with reality TV types of content in the future?
Well, so first thing that comes to mind, and I hate that we keep doing this, going back to the fucking metaverse, but a big show that my girlfriend watches, and because of that, I started watching, is called Big Brother. They have it in the States and Canada, all over the world, really. And my first thought is like, as far as how we interact with this stuff in the future would be like, like some of that digital twin stuff. Like imagine I was able to like be in the house and watch them and like really be Big Brother, like creeping on them, like their every move. That would
like
be
Truman Show vibes.
Truman Show vibes, but like not watching from a screen, like watching behind their back, like in virtual reality. You know what I mean? Like that would be nuts. It'd be creepy. I wouldn't want to be on a show where it's like that there's that much access to my everything. But that would be like one thing that I think would be kind of interesting. I think it was cool that you mentioned that this came from people not being able to write, like because there was a strike and they were kind of forced to do the thing. That kind of makes me think of like what happened with COVID the last couple of years, how we were like forced to work remotely and then found like, oh, there actually are benefits to some of this. And like sometimes these things like
you learn things the hard way, essentially.
Yeah. I think it might've been you or it was Josh that mentioned to me that ever since COVID, Apple started doing their events like produced. And then they were like, oh, it's way better to do it this way. It's like the videos are awesome now. Like the whole Apple event was unreal. And that was something that was
more engaging too.
And it came from like a negative thing, but it ended up being better. I think that's kind of like what happened here. Like reality TV was like, used as a fix, a Band-Aid fix, and now has become like so huge. Yeah, we just came out of like a generation of the most produced fake bullshit.
Yeah,
that's why people don't like Instagram that much anymore too, because it's so false.
Doesn't feel real.
Exactly, and even with us in advertising at Tomorrow Inc., we know that advertisements that look produced don't get the same engagement as the ones that look raw and handmade, because people just like are attracted to things that are authentic and real. So yeah, I hate to say that I like reality TV, but honestly, sometimes it's pretty good.
It is really good
because you just get such a raw truth from it.
It also just feels authentic when there's drama going on. I want to know if it broke up or not.
But whether it's drama or a good laugh, reality TV always hits the spot. Speaking of laughs, Storm, do you have a meme for us today?
You know what time it is? Pop it open. Open page this one. So. This is both. I have actually two quick ones from the Apple event. Spotify went down during the Apple event, and guess who did it?
That's actually really funny.
It shows the grave of Spotify and Apple Music with the peace sign, the deuces, chucking the deuces. Was there anything new with Apple Music, Lee, that you caught?
No, they actually just had an Apple TV segment at the beginning where they talked about the Apple TV, like all the actors and movies and originals they're making. But there wasn't much noise about Apple. Maybe that's what they did. They didn't talk about Apple Music, but they did by destroying Spotify for the day.
There you go. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, there's a video. It says my iPhone after watching #Apple event. And it's a man who is whole body is gyrating as if he's spazzing out. So
need to get a new one.
Need to get a new one. And that's what you guys were kind of talking about. Do you guys feed into iOS updates destroying old products so they buy new products, or how do you guys feel about that whole?
I think that definitely did happen before, where like they would intentionally do it, and like I think they proved it. I think now they're realizing that people are just stopping to buy iPhones, so now there's like more backwards compatibility. And actually, I'm pretty sure the new iOS updates are compatible with some pretty old phones, like iPhone 6 or something.
Oh, Apple's always great at maintaining the old phones, and this is the thing. So
they haven't always been great.
I think, well, I mean, compared to other companies, they've been pretty good. And even this whole, like,
I wouldn't say other companies. Compared to Android?
Yeah.
Android is known for being accessible.
No, I'm saying updating super old phones, like super old phones being able to get the latest updates. Dude, Android's horrible for this.
No, Android's not horrible for that. Android is arguably the better one for that.
I disagree because, like...
maybe not now.
No, like even when iOS... So when I had an Android... It was the Google Pixel. I had the Android a long time ago. So if it hasn't changed, if it hasn't improved since then you have a problem here. Because my Android, which was a Pixel, was the only one with the latest at the time.
You didn't have a Pixel.
I did have a Pixel.
No, you had a Samsung Galaxy.
That was my first Android. My most recent Android was a Pixel.
When did you have a Pixel?
Dude, remember we were tripping shrooms and it was like red and shit? Me and Jason both had Pixels.
No, that was Jason's Pixel.
Yeah, but we both had them. I had a Pixel, man. I'll show you. I had a Pixel. Okay. So anyway, my Pixel had the latest update, but I remember everybody else on Android couldn't get that one. And it is because Google owns the latest one, and everyone else had to use like an older version. And they had like layers of older versions of the latest Android. Apple will support the latest iOS back several generations. That they've always been, in my opinion, the best at that.
But it deteriorated your phone.
So here's what I'm saying. And again, not to cover their defense, because I'm not getting paid for this by Tim Cook. But listen, what they were doing, they could have been more transparent about it. But when you take an older device that has a slower chip and a smaller battery and blah blah blah, they have to tether the power of the new iOS features so that your battery consumption doesn't get ruined. A lot of the time, the battery's already worn over the years, and if they increase your power with all the new devices and they keep it maintaining, now your device is going to like lose its charge super fast. So they did this tethering, this like, whether they did it on purpose or not, I will never be able to tell you, but they should have told people they did it and they didn't. So, I personally, I still have a phone that's 3 years old now and I'm fine with it.
I love
3-year-old
right
iPhone.
Now. I know. I'm not saying now. I'm just saying back then.
All right. Well,
the first fight. Here we go. Took 5 episodes. I've been trying to get you guys to go at it. Yeah.
All right, guys.
On a nice note, what should all the listeners do?
So if you're listening to us, thank you guys so much again for listening to the podcast. And be sure to subscribe to us on all these podcast platforms. Give us some reviews, preferably high ones. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram to check out these memes. And anything else?
Oh, that's everything. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks for watching or listening, and we'll see you next week.